Live from the KHOU 11 studios and streaming on KHOU 11 Plus, your news starts now. And right now we've got a weather impact alert as we keep a close eye on the skies and the roads. A tornado watch in effect for much of the area until 6 o'clock.
Heavy downpours also coming in. The weather starting to impact schools. Aldine ISD has canceled all after-school activities.
All right, we want to get to Kim Castro right now tracking these storms. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Ron Turnman. Yeah, the tornado watch extended now until 6 o'clock. We'll be watching for the possibility of a few tornadoes in addition to a couple of these thunderstorms with the capability of producing some hail and isolated damaging wind. Those gusts could be up to 70 miles an hour. Radar right now looks like this. So the storms are starting to sag south. So far this afternoon, they have just been in our perimeter tracking to the northeast, but now they're sinking in and we're seeing some heavy downpours. A number of severe thunderstorm warnings have popped over the last hour. Right now we're not tracking severe components with these, but still frequent lightning, heavy downpours, gusty wind as these storms pass through. I'll be watching velocity to check inside the storm, see if there's any rotation going on. So far so good. So as these storms push into the area over the next few hours, we are just getting started. Notice on the tail end of this line south of Brenham, a new severe thunderstorm warning popping up, and these are all pushing east. So over the next few hours, Houston is going to get a lot more active. Right now, some moderate to steady heavy rainfall coming down the North Freeway. North of Spring right now, we're seeing a pocket of heavy rain. Near the airport, we're seeing some showers too. These have just passed IAH, now moving into Huffman, Roman Forest, and Cleveland, seeing some light to moderate showers as well. Weather impact alert for today looks like this as I take you through time future track. We're going to start to see more activity by the 6 o'clock hour. At that point, the line that's just to our west starts to pass through our northwest side of Harris County. So Tomball to Katy down to Needville. As this passes through the loop in the Beltway by 7:30, that's when you'll feel most of the disruptions here in Houston, and then that moves on to the Gulf Freeway by 8 o'clock at night. Notice we could still have a couple of isolated pockets of rain even into this evening, and more of that still on the way for tomorrow. This has been a pretty active pattern that continues into tomorrow. Brand new, we actually have another severe threat for our Wednesday. I'm going to have more details on that when I see you back here for the full 7-day forecast, guys.
Going on. Thank you very much. A lot going on. Our team keeping a close eye on the storms and the impact to your commute.
Yeah, let's get to Ana Yeli Ruiz. As you can see, she's in our weather tracker, and you're up in the Woodlands area, Ana Yeli?
That's right. We're in the Woodlands right now. We're heading on 45 South, just under Conroy. I want to show you guys what it looks like out here on the road. You can see the showers are already hitting this area. Fortunately, not too serious out here just yet, which is good. Hopefully allowing people to be able to make it home safely. But the roads are slick, very, very wet. So be sure and keep your distance from the car in front of you. And again, we have sporadic showers coming through the area that we've seen so far. Nothing too bad. As you can see, cars ahead of me are braking as more rain starts coming down. But again, nothing too serious as of yet. But of course, we're going to continue to watch this and bring you guys the very latest. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Ana Yeli, thanks. Always just a good reminder, you know, take it a little bit slow on wet days like this. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. As the strong storms move in, we've got you covered every step of the way. Just download the free KHOU 11 app. Point your phone at the QR code right there on the screen to get started. Well, a tragic update this afternoon out of Brenham. Rescue crews have recovered the body of a 10-year-old girl who was swept away in the rising floodwaters yesterday.
Katira Winfrey joining us live in the newsroom with the details. Katira.
Sherman and Ron, city leaders say they want to use this time to honor 10-year-old Diva Woods' life. The heartbreaking news came about 18 hours after Diva was carried away by flood water. The child's mother joined officials during a news conference this afternoon, and officials say the Brenham Elementary third grader had just gotten off the school bus Monday and was walking with her sister. Heavy rains throughout the day started rising and she somehow got swept away in it. Her sister was able to get to safety. Search efforts continued through the night, although they had to be scaled back due to ongoing heavy rains. The search ended tragically around 10 this morning when authorities recovered her body.
We have taken care of her as much as we could. Our hearts go out to Wilson's family. It is a difficult thing.
Appeared shaken up during the news conference, calling the community special and its response overwhelming. The police have taken over the investigation to piece together how Diva got overtaken by floodwaters. Guys, back to you.
Heartbreaking story. Thank you, Katira. For the first time today, we are hearing from the mother of a young woman allegedly killed by her own father.
He's accused of giving her a deadly dose of fentanyl in order to sexually assault her friend. Jason Miles, live from the Harris County Jail with the disturbing details on this story. And Jason.
Yeah, this is a wild story. The father's been locked up down here since March, but today was the first time we heard in detail from investigators who spoke alongside the alleged victim's family. Take a look. They held a news conference at the Drug Enforcement Agency's Houston headquarters in the Galleria area. That agency's overdose task force helped build the case against 46-year-old Joshua Youngblood. He's charged with fentanyl, murder by delivery, and sexual assault, accused of giving a dose of the powerful synthetic opioid to his daughter Jade and her friend back on Thanksgiving Day 2023. Investigators say it was part of a ruse to sexually assault the friend, but Jade ended up dying at age 27. Here's part of her mother's emotional message today for Jade's father, with whom she only had a very brief relationship.
You are a vile person. This is a heinous crime. Jade loved you, and you took her from us. And for that, I hope you pay with your life.
The DEA shared photos from Youngblood's arrest, which followed a lengthy investigation. Even if Jade knew she was taking something, an assistant DA said today that no one should receive a death sentence for doing so. Joshua Youngblood being held down here on combined bonds of more than $300,000. I'll have much more on this case and reaction from the family coming up at 5. For now, reporting live downtown, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
All right, thank you so much, Jason. Tomorrow morning, 133 cardinals will begin the process of electing a new pope. And right now, final preparations are underway for that secretive voting process.
It is likely that a new pope will be selected by the end of the week. CBS's Bradley Blackburn live at the Vatican with the latest. Bradley.
Ron Sherman, there is a quiet calm here in St. Peter's Square tonight, but those cardinals from around the world, including one from the Archdiocese of Houston and Galveston, must be under tremendous pressure, feeling it as they prepare to choose the man who will be the spiritual leader for 1.4 billion Catholics. Tomorrow they will begin making their decision as they're locked inside the splendor of the Sistine Chapel. With Michelangelo's frescoes watching from above, the Sistine Chapel sits ready to host 133 cardinals from 70 countries as they elect a new pope. In one of the final traditions ahead of the conclave, Pope Francis's fisherman's ring and his official seal were destroyed.
Wait and see.
Many cardinals remain tight-lipped just one day before they begin voting.
We won't have a new Francis. Yeah, Francis is Francis.
To be a pope has so many different kind of job requirements, right?
CBS News papal contributor Delia Gallagher says the first vote will establish who the real contenders are. What would surprise you here?
An African pope. It would surprise and please me. My sense is that we'll be going back to probably an Italian pope, or at least a pope who's had a lot of experience.
Many of the rules of this conclave were set back in the 13th century after an election that lasted almost 3 years. While there's still no deadline, more recent conclaves have lasted only 2 days. And as for the white or black smoke that signals a decision, that's a relatively modern tradition dating back just more than 100 years.
And when it starts coming out, the problem is it's a little bit gray. And so you don't really know until a little bit further on. And then, of course, if it's white, the bells will start to ring. And then you know they've elected a pope.
Cameras from around the globe are already focused on that chimney, waiting for the conclave to begin, and the old-fashioned signal of a new chapter for the Catholic Church. We are certainly watching too. The conclave happens behind locked doors, but it's not just the cardinals who take an oath of secrecy. Anyone who works at the Vatican during the conclave has to take the oath, which they did today. And the punishment for breaking that vow, Ron and Sherman, is excommunication from the church. Serious consequences for a decision that will bring so much joy.
Bradley, the American Cardinals, including Cardinal DiNardo from here in Galveston, Houston, would you say that they're considered to have a big voice in this conclave right now?
Well, Ron, when you look at the numbers of those 133 cardinals, 10 are from the United States. That's the biggest block from a single country other than here in Italy. So you would think they'd have a big voice, but the truth, Ron, is that the American cardinals are also divided on a number of issues. So we'll just have to see. We may never actually know the answer to that question, but we will know the results when a pope comes out on that balcony right behind me.
All right, when they say secret, they mean secret. All right, Bradley, thanks. We'll be looking for you throughout the week as the new pope is selected.
A proposed Texas law that targets child grooming is moving closer to becoming law.
House Bill 2000, also known as Audrey's Law, has now cleared a Senate committee and is heading to the full Senate for a vote. That bill would add child grooming to the list of crimes that require registration as a sex offender. It was introduced after the murder of 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham. Her accused killer previously had pled guilty to enticing a child, but was allowed to stay off the registry as part of a plea deal.
Can't go back and change what happened to 11-year-old Audrey Cunningham, but we can make it better for others to come along, and hopefully there will not be any more 11-year-old Audrey Cunninghams.
The measure already passed the House last month. Now it is up to the Senate to decide if it becomes law. And Texas lawmakers are moving forward with a proposal that would toughen penalties in deadly DWI crashes involving undocumented immigrants with prior offenses. House Bill 2017, also known as Grayson's Law, passed the House today with strong support. It was filed after 29-year-old Grayson Davis was killed in a wrong-way crash in Bastrop County last October. The amended bill upgrades the charge to a first-degree felony if the driver is in the U.S. illegally and has prior alcohol-related convictions. This now moves to the Senate committee for further review.
Tomorrow is the big day when it comes to your ID. May 7th is the day you'll need to start having a real ID to fly. But the head of Homeland Security says even if you aren't real ID compliant tomorrow, you can still get on a plane. Just expect to go through some extra steps.
Folks will come through the line and will be issue their ID and show it. If it's not compliant, they may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
The agency will also accept a passport, a federal tribal card, or a Department of Homeland Security approved traveler's card. 81% of travelers already meet these new standards.
All right, talking about traveling, let's get a check on the roads right now with Junior Caruso. What do you got going on out there?
Well, on the outbound side of the North Freeway here at Cypresswood, an earlier accident recently has been moved off of the main lanes, and now it's just the right shoulder that's blocked, and traffic just moving a little slow through the immediate area, but not seeing a major delay right now. You can see those lanes are all moving at a pretty decent pace, but there is a 2-minute delay from FM 1960, so nothing really to avoid, but wherever you're heading, you're going to want to give yourself a little extra time and leave extra space between you and the vehicle in front of you. A lot of the roadways are wet, and the rain coming down is going to cause low visibility.
That is wild. Much of Texas dealing with severe weather this week. A home near Fort Worth caught fire after it was struck by lightning yesterday. 3 people inside that house were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. According to a GoFundMe, the family has been put in a hotel until they can find long-term rental while their home is fixed.
That was scary. And right now, the storms here at home causing some travel trouble. Departures to IAH are delayed an average of 85 minutes, and folks leaving IAH facing 15-minute delays. That is increasing. According to FlightAware's Misery Map, IAH is in the top 10 in the nation for delays this afternoon. Dallas is number 1. So, as they say, check with your airline before you leave.
We had issues yesterday, too.
Yeah, before you leave for the airport. Back here at home, storms starting to hit parts of our area, and they're going to stick around for a little while. Our Kim Castro here now. So how long are we expecting this round of storms to last?
Yeah, we're going to have to watch the radar pretty closely throughout the afternoon and even into the evening. Our atmosphere is primed and ready to see any severe storm activity get closer. So right now, most of the severe thunderstorm warnings are lifting north of us. However, you'll notice just to our west, now the tail end of this front is starting to give us severe thunderstorm activity too. So let's start with that. A severe thunderstorm warning just west of the area in LaGrange is showing radar signatures of 60-mile-an-hour winds, 1-inch size hail, frequent lightning, no rotation with that particular couplet. There's another one that's building in Gonzales and then moving into Waller, and that one has the same criteria. So 60-mile-an-hour winds, heavy downpours, and hail signatures. So look at the hail tracks over the last 30 minutes. So from Gonzales to LaGrange, we are seeing a thunderstorm that's producing some sizable hail, quarter to maybe even ping pong ball sized hail possible for this afternoon and into this evening. In addition to very, very heavy rainfall, Grimes, Bryan College Station area has been getting hit pretty hard over the last 2 hours. So a flash flood warning now in effect for that area until 7 o'clock in the evening. This is impacting close to 170,000 people. So I want to show you how much rain has accumulated over the last 3 hours, about 4 inches for Bryan College Station and into Grimes. Huntsville right now getting hit with a pretty heavy downpour that extends all the way into Trinity. You'll notice behind that, Beedi starting to see some lightning of the rainfall. It's got some really heavy stuff here over the last 30 minutes or so, now starting to taper with that. Behind you, you'll see some nice breaks from the shower activity in Navasota, though, just about to get hit with some of the heavy rain. Inside the loop in the Beltway, Harris County has been seeing some pretty consistent downpours on and off throughout the last hour or so. Right now, Bush Intercontinental Airport seeing a pretty heavy rain cell over you. Huffman to Roman Forest, moderate shower activity, and just west of Cleveland, some rain too, taking you closer inside the Beltway. So Aldine to Hawthorne Place, you're seeing some pockets of heavy rain. West of Roslyn, moderate but steady rainfall. That's the same thing just north of Spring Valley. Taking you over to Liberty County, pockets of heavy rain kind of scattered throughout the area. Roman Forest not seeing shower activity yet, but there's pockets of rain moving over you here in a moment. Radar is showing us the big picture now is these storms are pushing east. So whatever's going on here in Montgomery is going to eventually race closer towards the Woodlands. What's going on in Brenham will eventually start to impact Aldine. Whatever's happening in Columbus eventually is going to scoot down the Katy Freeway. Of course, this is going to take a little bit longer to get to us. That's why we'll be monitoring radar throughout the evening. For the areas that have seen considerable rainfall, it's no surprise that there's a flood watch. So Grimes was included in that, now under a flash flood warning. Notice 3 to 6 inches of rainfall is going to be possible for our northern cities and counties. So this includes Brenham to Montgomery, Huntsville to Cleveland, Livingston too. The flood risk today is higher the far north that you go. So especially northeast, where these storms are kind of coagulating and starting to intensify, that's where the highest threat is. It's a level 3 on the 1 to 4 scale, but Houston still included in a slight risk. So as we track these storms, if they take a while to clear the area, for some reason they slow down, we could certainly start to see some rain accumulation causing issues, including not just ponding, but potentially high water spots and localized street flooding. So that's going to be something that we monitor in addition to the severe storm threat. Weather impact alert for today for the possibility of some of these storms to be strong, even severe. That continues into late tonight. So we could see a couple of these storms with some gusty straight wind, which would lead to wind damage. The possibility for hail is still there. And of course, watching some isolated tornadoes. Let me walk you through future track here. So this is a snapshot of what we're seeing now. It's a pretty good depiction of it. So we've got a couple scattered storms across Harris County, a big line kind of focused to our north and west. That starts to drop into Tomball and Katy over the next few hours. That's a snapshot at 6:30, most likely getting through the city center, so impacting downtown by 7:30, and then moving on to the coastline. Notice there could be a couple of rogue storms that break away from the main line, and those would be a concern because those could start to develop some rotation. So we'll have to watch for any isolated storms that don't cooperate with that main line too, and that will be something to monitor through at least 10 o'clock tonight. Here's a live look outside. So pretty stormy, even if you haven't seen too much rainfall today. Gulf Freeway completely clouded over. There's been some steady rain here in the Galleria. We're at Westheimer and Chimney Rock, and we've seen some pockets of heavy rain here, but cleared out for now. Hobby Airport, cloudy. Galleria, like I said, cloudy but quiet for now. Severe risk, it's a level 3 on the 1 to 5 scale. Notice it is a big bullseye along I-10 and to the north. I think that's where we're going to see the majority of the energy. Not to say that south of I-10 you're not going to get rain. I think you definitely are, but the severe components break apart a little bit more the further south that they go. That being said, you know, this tornado watch was set to expire at 4 o'clock, so it's taking some time for this line to get here, which is why the National Weather Service did extend this watch until 6 o'clock. Will they extend it even later? It's definitely possible. Still looking at the threat for tornadoes. Our atmosphere definitely has the ingredients to see that. We'll just have to monitor whether or not there's enough lift and instability and rotation to see a few of these tornadoes start to realize closer to Houston. Like I mentioned, large hail is still a possibility. We've been seeing a couple hail signatures in LaGrange. If that holds together, that would start to impact our western cities and counties. So Colorado to Wharton might have impacts from that, and then still tracking the possibility of wind. Here's the breakdown of the severe threat. So it's a 10%. That is the higher threat that we've got from Huntsville to Conroe down to the I-10 corridor, and it's hatched because if we do see some rotation on radar, we could see the possibility of even a stronger tornado developing. We haven't seen that so far, but we still have a long ways to go over the next few hours as that line gets closer to us. And then the threat drops off as we get closer to the coastline. Wind threat for today is for everybody, but there is a particular emphasis on the northeast side. So that's where I've been seeing that line pick up a little bit more steam. I'll show you here on radar in a second, but the further north and east that you go, that's where we're starting to see those severe thunderstorm warnings. There's even a couple tornado warnings that I've seen popping up north and east of us. Hail threat still remains, although I think we're going to start to scale back on that as we go into the next few hours. What's next? Okay, over the next 3 days, we still have to watch for some lingering moisture. This has been a pretty slow moving system, so that's why we've had back-to-back days where we've watched radar pretty closely. Yesterday, we've got those downpours. Today, we have the threat for some severe storms. And tomorrow, we actually have a threat for a couple strong to severe storms too. I think we're going to see some pockets of heavy rain at least, and that's why we've got Wednesday highlighted in red. So tomorrow, it's still a 60% chance for you to see some heavy downpours and even an isolated strong storm or two. By Thursday, I think we're starting to wring out the atmosphere. We'll have some lingering storms in the mix, a 30% chance for you to see some showers and storms. And then by Friday, we start to scale back on that rain chance even more. So let's track the ongoing storms. Again, for this evening, we'll look at the line trying to pass through the city center by 7, 8 o'clock and then pushing towards the coastline. Tomorrow morning, a batch of heavy downpours. Notice we kind of flip the script tomorrow, though. I think a lot of the focus for our Wednesday is going to be along the I-10 corridor and closer to the coastline. So you'll notice here's this cluster of storm that the future track model is putting in Matagorda and pushing into Brazoria counties. Angleton included in that at around 5:30 in the morning, down 288. So if you do commute early and you go down towards 288 Angleton, or maybe you travel down the Gulf Freeway towards Galveston, that's going to be something that piques your interest that you want to watch closely. These storms could definitely get some intensity as they get closer towards the bay. And then once more as we head into the evening. So now we're looking at a snapshot at 6:30. Tomorrow, more storms trying to redevelop just south of the I-10 corridor. For your Thursday, it looks like we're just going to have a few outflow boundaries that could spark up a few lingering storms. So not out of the question for you to see a few passing showers on your Thursday, even into the evening if you're in Matagorda or Brazoria, so closer to the coastline. And then by Friday, we should finally exhale and start to make our weekend plans and enjoy the weekend. Severe threat for your Wednesday breaks down like this. The heightened threat for tomorrow again flips. So now along the I-10 corridor and closer to the coastline. This includes Fort Bend though. So if you're in Sugar Land, if you're in Richmond, it's going to be something you want to pay close attention to. By Columbus, by El Campo, Angleton, that's also under a threat level 2. Your 7-day forecast looks like this. Today remains a weather impact alert day. Your Wednesday is highlighted in red, not quite a weather impact alert day for us just yet. However, we do have that day on watch because of the potential of heavy rainfall, a couple of isolated storms that could be strong. This is going to be mainly along the coastline. Thursday, lingering storms, 30% chance for that. Friday, isolated in the morning. And then look at your weekend, a lot better. In fact, Saturday, wow, upper 70s for a high, plenty of sunshine. Mother's Day Sunday looks beautiful too. We'll start off the day in the upper 50s under clear skies, topping off at 82 degrees. The weekend and next week looks a lot better, guys. We just have to get through this stormy pattern today, tomorrow, wrapping things up by Thursday.
All right, yes, get through today and tomorrow. Our meteorologist working overtime there. Thank you very much, Ms. Kim Castro.
Thank you.
All right, let's get a check on the roads again. Aniel Ruiz in our weather tracker.
Thank you.
Up in the Conroe area.
That's right, guys. We are in the weather tracker chasing those storms out here. Although I want to show you guys, it's kind of hit or miss out here. You can see the skies are a little bit dark in some areas, but the rain is kind of just coming. Showers are sporadically hitting the freeway out here. Right now, not much rain here in the area, but like I said, just comes and goes. Fortunately, not a lot of water on the freeway, which is good for the commuters. I mean, the roads are slick, but there's not any ponding, which is good. But again, asking people to please drive safely, keep your distance from the car in front of you, and make sure you're giving plenty of space. You don't want to, have an accident on these slick roads that are out here. But again, showers kind of coming and going as we're driving here through 45. Traffic is heavy as people are trying to get home. But again, be safe when you're on those roads. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, of course it's rush hour, so it's always a mess anyway because it's Houston, thanks to Mother Nature, just getting sloppier and messier out there. Take care, Anna Yelly. Thank you. Harris County deputies shot and killed a man overnight during a trespassing call at a hospital along Cypress Woods Medical Center Drive. Hospital security reported a man sleeping in his car outside of the hospital and refusing to leave. This was apparently not the first time either. When the man refused to comply with deputies' orders, deputies broke a window, opened the car door, deployed a taser, but that apparently had little effect. Then deputies pulled that man from the vehicle.
As soon as they pulled him out of the vehicle, he had a butcher knife in his hand, a pretty large knife, and at that point the deputies discharged their firearm in fear of their life.
Harris County Sheriff's Office confirms that 2 deputies fired their weapons. Body cam footage will be released within 45 days of the shooting as the investigation continues. And right now, 44-year-old Thomas Saunier is being held on a $1 million bond. He's accused of ambushing his wife and killing her in her driveway on Sunday night. Saunier was due in court today but did not appear because officials say he was too combative. The judge says surveillance video shows the suspect chasing Calencia Davidson before shooting and killing her Sunday night. Investigators say she was shot 12 times.
All right, new at 4:30, armed security at a gun store in Northwest Houston scared off a suspected thief. We spoke with the owner of HTX Tactical Custom Firearms. They shared this surveillance video with us. It shows a truck drive around the safety poles in front of the store before slamming into the window. An armed security guard was inside and fired several shots at the vehicle. The people in the truck drove away empty-handed, but they left about $6,000 worth of damage behind. The owner says surveillance cameras first picked up someone looking through the window moments before the truck hit the building.
And new details this afternoon in a high-dollar heist at a West Houston retail shop. $5,000 reward now being offered to find the thieves who stole fur coats and severely damaged designer diva resale. This was back in December. Between the coats and the damage, the business says it lost $1.3 million. This burglary happened December the 11th off of Stebbins Circle. This is the second time that store was hit. And new this afternoon, police sharing these images of the two suspects wanted in that December robbery. You can see them clearly here. Investigators also searching for the getaway car, a newer model white Chevrolet Malibu. If you have any information, please contact Houston Crime Stoppers.
Now to Washington, where President Trump met with Canada's new prime minister to talk tariffs.
Torian Small has details of that meeting from the White House.
I love Canada.
Sitting next to Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, in the Oval Office, President Trump said he has a lot of respect for Canadians, but he won't back down when it comes to tariffs.
We want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things, because we want to be able to do it ourselves.
U.S.-Canadian relations have been strained since 25% tariffs on some Canadian goods went into effect in March. During Tuesday's meeting, the president also called the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, which he signed in this first term, a transition deal, and raised the possibility of renegotiating it, something Canada's new leader signaled he's open to.
It is a basis for a broader negotiation. Some things about it are going to have to change.
Canadians elected Carney last week, in part because of his pledge to stand firm against President Trump. And stand firm is exactly what he tried to do when the president once again floated the idea of Canada becoming the 51st state.
It's not for sale, won't be for sale, ever.
But President Trump remained undeterred.
I say never. I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way.
Despite any differences, President Trump pledged the U.S. will always have Canada's back, at least in one regard, militarily. Torian Small, CBS News, the White House.
A North Texas teen fighting for life after a popular game ended in tragedy.
His family now warning others about the game called Senior Assassin. The basics are groups track down peers through an app and spray each other with water guns until a winner wasn't hit emerges. Now, in this case, senior Isaac Leal jumped onto the back of a Jeep to chase down targets, but he fell and suffered a serious head injury.
People need to be aware of games like this, because teenagers, as a teenager, you're not aware of, if there's something bad's going to happen.
Like, everything was planned out, and your plans change from overnight. Nothing matters but saving your kid's life.
Isaac's family says they hope this horrifying incident will raise awareness and prevent future tragedies among students playing the game.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is promising to appeal a nearly $6.7 million judgment against his office. A few years ago, 4 of Paxton's former top lieutenants filed a whistleblower lawsuit against the AG's office, claiming that they were fired for reporting violations to the FBI. Well, then last Friday, a judge ruled that Paxton's office violated the Texas Whistleblower Act, and the cost will fall on taxpayers if state lawmakers agree to fund it. But they already chose not to do that back in 2023. As you may remember, that led to Paxton's impeachment trial. Big announcement for fans of festivals.
Yeah, Austin City Limits Music Festival announced its lineup today, and here it is. Sabrina Carpenter, everybody. Hozier, Doja Cat, Luke Combs, The Strokes, John Summit, and Doshi. 3-day tickets are now on sale.
All right, now.
Weekend 1 is October 3rd through 5th. Weekend 2 is October 10th through the 12th. I've been. You ever been?
Nope.
Yeah. Tickets for an entire weekend start at around $360. So.
I can't lie. I didn't actually know every one of those bands that we named there.
You think I did?
Of course, because you know everything, Ron.
All right.
New at 4:30. Several ducklings trapped underground before the storms came in. They're now resting in a safe, dry spot. It looks like it's a cardboard box.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, all thanks to Houston firefighters who raced to their rescue. This happened earlier this afternoon outside of LBJ Hospital. And getting to them, as you can see, was not easy. Crews had to break out the power tools, rip out a tree, dig through the dirt to pull those 8 ducklings
They're
free.
so precious. They're so precious.
Baby birds already on their way to a new home. A nurse at the hospital who happens to have a farm said she is going to go ahead and adopt them.
I want that one. I want that one right there.
You want that one? Okay.
That rescue happening at just the right time. We're staring down some heavy rain. Kim, walk us through what we can expect next.
Yeah, some of these stronger storms are starting to build in and now moving into our far western cities and counties. So here's a live look at radar right now. There's the line that's been working out a lot of lightning, heavy downpours, and now a severe thunderstorm warning. And this one is interesting, moving from LaGrange into Austin County. That one has the possibility of a tornado. So it is flagging the National Weather Service for not just the hail threat, not just the wind, but possible rotation. So I'm looking at velocity signatures really quickly to see if I can spot a couple of couplets. Yeah, they're not very well defined, but just in case, because this storm is moving to the east at around 40 miles an hour, if you're in this path, so Industry at around 440, Hempstead by around 519, Prairie View by 527, 532 in Waller, so on and so forth. So just keep a close eye on this storm. If you are watching us, you can just stay inside for at least the next 30 minutes or so. That's a good idea. Another severe thunderstorm warning just southwest of there in Gonzales. This one continues to push east as well. This one's not flagged for rotation, but it does have a hail signature and it does have some strong wind along with it. So here's a look at the hail tracks. So far about a quarter of an inch hail sizes there. And that continues to move to the north and east. Flash flood warning, plenty of heavy rain that we've been seeing moving from Bryan College Station to Grimes. That has prompted the National Weather Service to issue concern for too much water in a short amount of time. So about 170,000 people under that warning. So Grimes County has seen about 4 inches of rainfall in just the last 4 hours. So additional rainfall would be an issue. Luckily, this line is now finally starting to sag south. Beat eyes are starting to see a clearing. Huntsville, you're not getting hit with some heavy rain. New Waverly and Montgomery, you are going to be next. Ahead of that, it's just been streamer showers. So showers lifting from the loop into Cleveland. Some lightning associated with that, but no severe components there. Same thing for Liberty. We still have a few hours for this main line to get down to Houston. And so for that reason, the weather impact alert continues into tonight. The threat for strong to severe storms, which could include isolated wind damage, some hail signatures, and the possibility of isolated tornadoes, guys.
Thanks very much. A lot going on in the weather department. Thank you, Kim. And thank you for watching us on KHOU 11+. We will see you back here on air after the soccer game finishes.
Yeah, it's a thriller right now on the air. Check it out.